Yo, what's going on, legends? Today I'm going to show you my Hammer of the Ancients from the Season 6 PTR. This is the Earthquake Dust Devil setup with the new Paragon Board, Force of Nature. And I have two more builds with the bare bones of the setup with Earthquakes. One is with Whirlwind, the other one is with Mighty Throw, the new ability for Barbarian. So be on the lookout for that because I will also do them as a detailed guide for YouTube. But Hammer of the Ancient setup, we do use Steel Grasp, and this is also tier 100 Pit, which is the highest in the Vessel of Hatred. They lowered it from 200, but that could be the equivalent, if you will. So Steel of Grasp to group mobs together. Now, you cannot really do big pulls on PTR. I hope that's not the case in Vessel of Hatred, because if you had too many mobs, you would lag like crazy, which means everything will be delayed and you could potentially even die because of that. But yeah, overall this build, amazing tankiness. Even without using Iron Skin or Challenging Shout, we could easily sustain damage. Once you kill the purple mobs that are hidden in the middle somewhere, they just melt. As you can see, everything just, the HP bar just goes quickly gone. That's just a pure dot build. Now, the new board makes it so your Earthquakes scale from damage to close enemies and deal increased damage up to 30%, I believe, or 80, 180%, I'm not too sure now. But those Earthquakes also have a 75% chance to spawn Dust Devils. It might be a bit overtuned, not compared to other classes. Barb was still on the weakest side on PTR, but some people think it's too much. These Earthquakes, it's too OP. If they were to nerf it, I would love to see them remove Dust Devils from the legendary node, or to just, cap the Earthquakes, because I believe they were uncapped. Not the Rumbleglyph. Rumbleglyph did cap out at 5, so that's 50% multiplier. Now, this is the boss fight, Chief Marauder. I believe it took me like 2 minutes to kill this boss. I have over 6 minutes left after the boss at the end. And yeah, overall, these builds can easily clear tier 100. Obviously, this is super endgame content in the game, so the gear is also adequate to that. It's super endgame and very geared out. Obviously, this can be optimized through some like better items, if you will, or like better affixes and better masterworks. Yes, we had unlimited resources on PTR for masterworking, but the amount of left clicks on the resetting masterworks almost killed my hand. So yeah, I just didn't fully upgrade it to the max, what it should be. But yeah, overall, cooldown reductions on single target, amazing for Shouts and Call of the Ancients, Ground Stomp as well, guaranteed for the vulnerable. There, I actually missed my Ground Stomp. Ground Stomp area is not that huge if you're fighting single target. If you get pushed back with the mechanic like I did right there, without having Unstoppable, you can easily miss Ground Stomp away from the target, which means you will not apply vulnerable on the target, which is pretty rough. But as you can see, easy tanking 3 stacks of the debuff, where it takes exponentially more damage, and in the highest difficulty, highest tier 100. And we are getting a guaranteed overpower from Bonebreaker board. And with that, there is a new passive called Warpath, I believe, in the skill tree, where you will get increased damage up to 12%, I believe, if you overpower. So we get overpower damage, or we get overall damage increase from overpowering with Hota, and then also getting this skill tree passive. So yeah, there is still a bug on PTR with the Ancients. If you press an ability right after casting Ancients, your Ancient that creates Dust Devils will not attack. And, those Dust Devils scale from hours. So yeah, it does quite a lot. But aka like Twister Glyph, for example, that does help too. But yeah, we use Ground Stomp with two-hander, I believe, for 50% multiplier. And another great thing, I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but your Ancients also create Earthquakes because of the Ariad's Bearing Pants, which is amazing stuff. I'm a big fan of that. So the usage for Ground Stomp and Rumble, you don't even need to use any Ground Stomp or Leap. You can just let your Ancients create Earthquakes, and Rumble would be active, as well as the Aspect if you stand in the Aspect, or Ground Stomp, excuse me. But yeah, that was pretty much the run. I'm gonna take you to the planner, and we're gonna talk about some of the good stuff. Let me find it real quick. Boom. So let's go with the gear. First up, we got Harlequin Crest. You want a Masterwork cooldown reduction, so you have good uptime on the Shouts. Next up, Tyrell's Might, the classic damage reduction, triple Masterwork. You could even do double Masterwork on damage reduction and then max res, up to you. We want to sack the red gems, because these are strength in the Vessel of Hatred. So you want to stack that for damage. On the gloves, we go with Elements damage for some easy multiplier, 35%. Crit chance, crit damage, strength, pretty usual. They move dust devil size on armor, which is good, so we can easily reach that 100% size cap for Fierce Wind's aspect, which is on our one-hander. Damage to close, we need that a lot for the Force of Nature. Scaling, I'm gonna show you actually right now, the new Paragon Board. This one right here, it scales from damage to close up to 150%, right? So yeah, I believe I was missing like 3% there actually as well. Arid's Bearing, we want to get ultimate damage masterwork because cooldown is already enough with that, and Harlequin Crest. Or actually, I found a sweet spot with the one masterwork on cooldown reduction, and I did not have great graphics on that. It was just a max roll, so I found a sweet spot where the lowest cooldown you can get on this bad boy, I believe, is 11.2 seconds on the PTR. On live server, it's 12.5 seconds, so they actually increase the cap you can get for cooldowns. On the boots, I tried Wild Bolt, which pulls mobs together. This is pretty good, actually. Even with any Steel Grasp, or you might think that Steel Grasp takes care of things, but Steel Grasp doesn't reach as far as this aspect. So when you pull mobs together and there are more mobs in the back or incoming, they will be pulled with Wild Bolt. So you can go with that, or you could go with the concussion aspect for more damage multiplier, 20%. Ranks to brawling skills, which will apply to both Warcry and the Ground Stomp. So that's pretty good. Does double size on the boots again, and movement speed. On the two-hander, we go the Earthquake aspect for Ground Stomp, 50% damage increase, which is actually, or actually 30% damage increase. On the two-hander, it's 60% because it's doubled. Strength, max life, and damage, that's what I got. I wish I could get crit damage instead of the damage there. Chance for Earthquakes to cast twice, you need on the two-hander. And damage while berserking is all you need on two-hander for reaching the Blood Rage cap. More about it later when I get to it. On the one-hander, we got Fierce Winds with the size of the Dust Devils, and Earthquake duration and other good stuff you need to get on the one-hander, and damage to close, crit damage, max life, strength, pretty much the same multipliers or stats for Barb. And on the one-hander, we go with Devilish for even more scaling from the shouts. And that's why having resource generation is very good. That's why Hotak comes into play very greatly, because you can see in the modifiers, you gain more fury for 5 seconds for each mob damaged enemy. So that's some good stuff. So Ancients will give you even more resource, right? Damage to close, chance for Dust Devils to cast twice, also very good. I went with Axes on this build because they have good implicit of damage over time, but you could totally go for Swords for crit damage. But I just like the drip. I just like how X look, and yeah, goes better. Grandfather for the two-hander, pretty self-explanatory for crit damage. The runes I used in these two weapons or in this build are as follows. When you cast a skill with cooldown, you'll get 50 offering, and then reaching 200 offering will reduce the cooldown of your ultimate by 4 seconds. So all of our skills have cooldown, good stuff, easy to reach. Another one I went with Standing Still, gives you 25 offering, and that will create earthquakes. So that's super easy. I hope this will stay in the game. I want to use this mechanic on any bar build. It's very powerful. Good synergy with a lot of stuff. Starless Guy, that's why we have core skill here, so we can proc this ring. That's what I like. Next up, we get Bolt Chieftain on the ring. Crit chance, crit damage, strength, damage to close, and Warcry cooldown. Pretty much the same. And on the amulet, I go with Bulkathos aspect. Not only will get damage reduction by 45%, so that's why we don't need Iron Skin with the Iron Warrior aspect or even Challenging Shout. So we get this bad boy. But also it makes your Earthquakes deal more damage, right? And the aspect is stronger on Amulet. So it does scale pretty well with Earthquakes. Ranks to counter-offensive and heavy-handed as we're using 200 mace. Damage to close, Warcry cooldown, same as the ring, and percent strength on the Amulet. We have enough crit chance from the rings and the gloves, I believe, for this setup. And we can also use the crit chance potion as a consumable. The technique, we want to get 200x for vulnerable multiplier. Gems on the weapons are green emeralds. Let's go over the skill tree. First 2 points doesn't matter, just to unlock core skills. We go with Hota. This is the first multiplier when you overpower, 40%, and this is the second one, 12%, the Warpath. Some good stuff. I could probably go with Pressure Point, but having such a good uptime on Ground Stomp, which makes enemies vulnerable, that's all we needed, honestly. Speaking of Ground Stomp, we want to get to 5 points in here to reduce the cooldown as much as possible. And here we go with the vulnerable 4 seconds. Also, Brawling skill, dealing less increased damage. But that's why we want to go with brawling skills on boots to increase the, to decrease the cooldown even further on this ability. Rolling Cry, this is our source of Fortify. Some good stuff. I've noticed a lot of bar builds don't have even Fortify source, which is pretty weird. We got damage reduction and HP increase in these both. We got some thorns to proc bleeding on the targets from around. I believe we got some damage bar from bleeding enemies, DR damage reduction. Next up, we got War Cry maxed out for damage increase. We gotta get all the passes for shouts here as well. Damage reduction while berserking. Battle Fervor from Groundstone, giving us berserking. That's easy uptime, right? Next up, we got also this berserking will get the duration. If you keep rocking it, back to back, you will get the berserking lasting longer thanks to Unconstrained. I believe it goes up to 8 seconds. We got Pit Fighter, Slaying Strike 1 point. Ideally would be maxed out. Steel Grasps for berserking, probably not even needed that. You could probably put it in Slaying Strike. Counter Offensive for some damage. Call of the Ancients, you could max out ultimates in, the Vessel of Hatred. This would make it so your Ancients will deal more damage, but this would also reduce the cooldown. But as you could see in the footage, we don't need more cooldown. So we put points in Heavy-Handed for more crit damage and also Wallop with the 200 mace. And then the classic Unconstrained as the key passive for Barbarian. The Paragon Board, first up we got Twister. We want to max this bad boy out, so 90 strength in the first board, pretty crazy stuff. We're also trying to focus on as many HP nodes as possible. Second board we got is the Carnage, Decimator. This is where the overpower comes into play as well for the more damage increase from this bad boy. Here we go with the Earthquake Rumble because this one is 95 strength board. This is the most amount of strength. Some more HP. And here as well on the right side we got the new Force of Nature. This is the new board where we put also a new glyph called Challenger. This will increase your normal nodes within the range. So we want to focus on strength, dexterity for crit chance, willpower for overpower damage, but also resource generation. Very good stat for Barbarian. So if you can stack this, go for it. We're obviously missing some more points, as you can see here in the right upper corner. 74 points. So this is only the board I had in the footage. So the rest of the points are, you can put them wherever you want. But having the limit of 5 Paragon boards in Vessel of Hatred makes it so you're left with a lot of points where you don't even know where to put them. But we could get some more damage reduction here. We can get some vulnerable damage, max out the glyphs as well and whatnot. And yeah, we go with Earthquake damage up top. Here, more life, but also Earthquake duration down here. And yeah, this is only a multiplier 8% damage increase with one-handers. I believe this will be changed, or hope so. So we shall see about that. On the left side, this is the Bone Breaker for guaranteed overpower. Some extra DR on the way and damage as well. Some good stuff. Extra HP. The glyph here we use is Wrath for the crit damage and also generation when you crit strike, 3 Fury, which gets amplified by resource generation. Pretty good board for dexterity, 59 points. Probably the best board actually. And the last board here we have Blood Rage. So this is where we put Martial to increase the damage while berserking. They moved it here. And this is actually all you need to reach the Blood Rage cap of 30%. So Temper on one two-hander. So Temper on two-hander. Have Martial Glyph here to boost these magic nodes. And you don't even need to use our glyph. That's the thing. You don't need to use that. So, and this is our way to reduce cooldown on Ground Stomp and also Call the Ancients. Right, so that was the Paragon board. The Consumables, I'll probably put it in the notes here as well. Consumables, I use all 3 incense, which is Chores of War. That's type 3 incense, type 1 incense was strength, and type 2 incense was, I believe, HP increase or all stats. The rotation is with a Steel Grasp. You want to group mobs together with this ability. Buff yourself up with the shouts, and then Call the Ancients first. Call the Ancients first and then shouts, because if you do that, your Martial will proc after using shouts, which means 4 seconds cooldown reduction on Call the Ancients. So you can use it again. And then you just, spam Ground Stomp and go Hammer of the Ancients. Keep an eye on Ancients, so they're almost, they're always up. So you get the bonus Easy Clap from this ability, and that's pretty much it. That will be the setup for this bad boy. Here are the other 2 builds. I have Earthquake, Dust Devil Whirlwind, and Throw, which are coming up on YouTube as well. But with that, if you have any questions, hit me up in the comments, or you can hit me up on Discord, or I stream every day on Twitch and YouTube. So you can hit me up there as well. We can talk about some stuff, but I would like to thank you for watching, and until next time, have a good one and peace.